Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. We're an all-queer cast Numenera podcast. I'm Kenny, the cast member who plays the lovable and simple lad Hillian. If you love our show, we hope you'll rate us and review us on iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts. Every review makes Kelric, the GM and producer's eyes, sparkle, and helps new listeners to find us. We don't pay to advertise any of the podcasts on the Experience Points network, so we hope you'll recommend us to your friends and just about anyone. Did you know that we had a Patreon? We are grateful to everyone who's already become a patron. You keep our mics on and our dice rolling. We've got some great rewards, so check them out at patreon.com/experiencepoints.
Be gay. Roll dice.
An LGBTQIA actual play podcast network.
Hello and welcome back to Qmenera. I am Kelric, your narrator. My pronouns are he, him, and today I don't think I'm going to call anyone out on anything. This is my fabulous cast. Jessica, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing Tiyune, a mechanical nano who rides the lightning and is bad at social interactions. Everybody knows that about her, and her pronouns are also she, her.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I play Railu, a graceful glaive who speaks with the silver tongue. And they're supposed to be good at social interactions, but still aren't. And both of our pronouns are they, them.
Hi, my name is Kenny. My pronouns are he, they, and I play Hillian Jossa, an earnest Jack who howls at the moon, whose pronouns are he, him, and he's a hungry boy.
I would love for Tiyune to give the recap this time, if you don't mind.
After I woke up and made breakfast for a hungry Hillian, classic Railu just walked off and didn't help with a damn thing. But Gesten let us know that we had a new mission from Renvale. Gesten is clearly distracted by news of what happened to Hegprid, but there's nothing we can do. Hegprid made their choice. So we've gone out to find sealed ciphers owned by Milnew, who has a map potentially to the steel city we found through the tree that we found back in the Ba'adenu forest. If that's true, I think it would be best to close off all the rest of the entrances. I don't think anyone should have access to it, especially not beyond priesthood.
So we had breakfast, and there were a lot of snacks. Some of them were a little bit more dry than others. Then there were some serious conversations, and Hillian was like, those are lots of, those are so good. Nom, nom, nom. Can we get some more snacks? And then we left the house for a little bit, and there were a lot of people asking questions, but my stomach was growling, so I ate some more snacks.
I also managed to convince a city guard that, of course, both Tiyune and I and Hillian belonged here, and he promised his everlasting friendship after some greasing of palms. And finally, we found the sealed cipher. Who knows how this is going to turn out, but everything always works out fine, right?
You did earn an ally for the low cost of 75% of your entire pocket money. Hooray! They love you forever. And you have arrived at
Sealed ciphers?
That's right.
Why did you do this?
'Cause it's fun.
Milnew.
So you're there. It is this very inviting store. The incense is burning around the doorway on both sides, has hints of spice that, just reminds you of warmth and holidays and, little festival times. And there are banners and fabric that is exquisitely bright and printed and not garish. It's just this thing of beauty that's welcoming and makes you want to come in. And in beautiful woodcut lettering, there's a sign that says sealed ciphers over the top. As you stand outside and gaze in wonder, I suppose. What's your next?
Oh, yeah, Tiyune will go in.
Hillian, who is tied to Tuna, will be following because of snacks.
Railu's going to enter, thinking about holidays that I expect Calric to put in later in great detail.
Damn it. Okay. All right, so you go in, and as you look around, there are all kinds of things. There are oddities off to, the front left side that have just, bubbles that are floating in the air with what look like little dragon pixies floating inside them, or an eyeball that just sort of follows you around as it lays on its silver tray, and the eye color changes as you near different items, and just numerous other things. And then in other areas you can see that there's clothes and there's incense and there's just it is a plethora of items and senses for the eyes, and anything that could draw you in.
Tiyuna is definitely just like taking little treats and like handing Hillian one and then immediately grabbing another one for as soon as he finishes it to make sure he doesn't get distracted by anything in this store.
Yes, there will be a few intellect saves because we don't have will saves, so we will have intellect rolls for Hillian. I would like to say at least 2 before you get to the counter and interact with anyone. So why don't we roll those? You get an asset to succeeding because of the treats, and a second one because of the flapping cape that Tuna has. But the difficulty is going to raise the longer you stay in here, because this store is filled with wondrous items. So let's start with a TD12. You have a 50-50 chance at success.
TD5 or TD?
TD4, so
4.
12
Okay.
is the target. TD12, not possible! Well,
I was gonna say.
36.
Do I get to roll 2 D20s? All right.
Hey!
Hey, look at that.
Okay,
That's one.
that's a nat 20. You gain a major effect of your choice. What would you like that major effect to be? Would you like to hold it until after you are interacting with this individual? What's your plan?
I think Hillian is lost in thought, has an internal monologue going on about how awesome the food is, how hungry they're feeling, and what the next meal will look like.
Okay, so I think as you're going through the snacks, you are full, like, for a short time. And I mean, it feels like it's been longer than you can remember since you have felt just satiated. But you have had enough, and now you are just contemplating your next meal or something.
What are snacks really? If you think about it, are they just small meals? And if they're small meals, why don't we have multiple sides? Is there a special beverage to go along with snacks?
Deep Thoughts by Hillian.
Hillian asking the real hard-hitting question.
For all our Patreons, just have Hillian ASMR talking about internal monologue of snacks.
This cheese is gooey.
Okay, so Tuna, you are freed up a little bit. You have a little bit more freedom because you've been offering snacks, and you notice that Hillian is turning them down, but they are not pulling away. They're just sort of following you very docilely, obviously in their own head. Which, a little unusual, but I think in this case you feel really secure about it, and you feel like even if they were to move off, they would stay in this store because the store is full of so many interesting items. Like, there's no reason for them to travel outside of the store because anything that could grab their attention is in here with you. So you feel pretty secure to move forward with whatever else you're going to do. So as you move forward, you see a minuscule being behind the counter. They are dark-skinned with almond color shaped eyes, and they have a bit of yellow around the iris. They are not human, but not any species you've seen before. They have almost a frog-like wide mouth and very, I'd actually say more like a turtle. Like it's almost kind of like a small beak to their face, and they are adorable and dangerous looking at the same time. Like this looks like someone who you do not want to mess with, but unless you push them to that point, they are quite charming. They have like a stool behind the counter, which you can see because it's just clear, not glass, but some sort of like plastic material that you can just see right through. And you can see that they're on like a foot tall stool, so that they're over the counter at a normal height. And they see you and they say, "Well, welcome. How can I help you today?"
I feel like, Jess, you're taking the lead on this one.
Oh,
You walked in first with Hillian.
all right. This is gonna go great for us. Are you Milnew?
"Why, yes, I am. A pleasure. And you are?"
Tiyune, I am here on behalf of Gesten.
"You know Gesten? Wonderful. What would Gesten have sent you here for?"
Heard tell there's some sort of map.
Their eyes dart around the store, which is empty. You're actually there very early, and I see. Do you have anything to show that you have a connection to Gesten?
I guess she would just show her like Eon priesthood mark, the port.
And they would nod at you, and then they would look at the other two people with you. Go ahead.
Riley holds up their bracelet.
Okay.
They're like at the end of the thing, too. They're just like, eh.
Hillian is contemplating whether or not crumbs are just little snacks for mice.
I think was Hillian's what was Hillian's priesthood mark?
Oh goodness, I can't remember. I think it was an amulet.
Yeah, I thought you had a necklace.
Okay. Tiyune then would just sort of like lean to like show him like point at the necklace. Like don't worry about him. It's right here.
Excellent. And then they press a button, and the doorway behind you slowly starts to close. And this will be just a moment to ensure that we have privacy. And then it closes, and they hop down off the stool, and they come up to roughly your rib cage. And they walk out from behind the counter, and they say, "Well, here's the deal. This person came to sell me this map, and I talked to Gesten about it, and Gesten said that it sounded absurd. But I've kept track of them because I like to know what's going on. And I would like to know why Gesten has changed their mind about why this map matters. So, in exchange for that, I will tell you where to find the person who is selling the map, to the best of my ability."
I don't know that Gesten did change their mind, but they told the Eon priesthood about it, and orders came down to fetch this map.
Interesting. And you can see that they're filing information away. I mean, like, they're not subtle about it. They're not trying to hide anything. They're like, this person obviously sells just about anything. You know, their store shows it, but they don't seem to have, like, bad intent. They just seem to want to know what's going on because that's the only way to keep yourself alive in business. I think this is something that even from well behind you, Railu can recognize and understand from their experience with being around their parents in their business. So why don't we go have a seat? And they point off to the left, and you see that there's this little curtained area that sort of has the feel of where you'd go for like a psychic reading, where it's a small round table and they might have like a deck of cards there and just a couple of seats around it where you can all sit. And they offer, would you like some tea while we chat? It will only take a moment.
Is this necessary? Can't you just tell us where to find this person and we can be on our way? Not that I don't appreciate the hospitality.
I see. And they obviously do not appreciate it. But so be it. No need for niceties, I suppose. Fine.
Niceties any other time would be fine, but I need to get through this so I can get back to what I'd like to be doing.
And Railu chimes in, I'm sure a business person such as yourself always knows how valuable time can be. That's all. It's just a time clock. We would love to come back another time for tea.
Oh, I'm sure. When you would like to be here, as they look at Tiyune. Of course. And then they stop talking to Tiyune entirely.
That feels correct. Talking to me in the first place.
I didn't make you talk to them.
You know about Numenera, so I figured this was like a Numenera shop, and you would be able to be like, hey, nice square hole maker. How about we... Oh.
All right. So, this is the information as I have it. The individual looking to sell this map is named Twom. And Twom has said the price, which I found exorbitant, until they mentioned that it was all the Numenera you could possibly want, was 3,000 shins. And it's just unbelievable. It's a crazy amount, but sure. And I will tell you this Twom person is very brave because they are down in the roots. They are staying in what is known as the north end of the roots, which I don't know if you know, but that is where all of the dangerous people who want to be petty tyrants start out. There are gangs, there are thieves, there are murder. It is not a pleasant place. You would not find me down there at all. But they're down there, and I would say your best bet is to go down and go to the Murden at midnight. It's a bar, because where else would petty tyrants spend time? Drinking, of course, whatever. So, Twom their appearance is tall, and he looks around. Which of you is the tallest of the three?
At least maybe 5'8".
I think it's probably either Tiyune or Hillian.
So we'll point to Hillian. A little taller than this one. They have a patch over their left eye, and one of their arms is, I guess it's a Numenera that's attached. It's not something I'm familiar with, but it is not a flesh arm. It is mechanical in nature. this is the information I have. The 3K shins was quite a lot, and I begin to wonder, with you all being here, if perhaps they are underselling that.
Milinu, for all this information, I'm not quite sure what it is that, and I'm sure for all this information, Gesten will be so thankful. We will make sure to keep you updated on what happens with this map and what is going on as an exchange of good graces. Now, someone as connected as yourself, and as respectable, I don't expect you to have any interactions with them, but you know knowledge, you hear things. Would you know who it is in the north side that would mayhaps be able to grant us safety? You know, there's always someone that leads all these riffraff.
So, that is not something I could help you with. But I do know the Murden at Midnight, the bar I suggested, is a safe space. It is it's a no-kill zone. That bar is neutral. You can go there. Once you step outside the door, I don't know. I don't go down there. I have associates who come and talk to me, but I don't go down there. That's not a place for...
Milnu, in exchange for all of the information you've given us, we appreciate it so much. Is there anything that we can help you with as an offer of friendship?
Hillian kind of snaps to for a second. I think I have some of these amazing mushrooms, and holds out his hand.
I do love a good mushroom. And they'll take it. And I mean, you have a major effect to use. So, I mean, if you want that to be, them accepting a mushroom in payment, that's totally fine.
It's a gift from Hillian.
Wonderful. Yeah, and basically, they will actually draw you a map as the major effect on how to get to the Murden at midnight. And let me type that for you so you know. There.
After all of the discussion of, no murder zone, no kill zone, whatever, I remembered it as the murder at midnight. So I'm really glad that you repronounced it again.
Yes, that's what I've said it a couple times because of it. I'm like, Murden. And I believe Murden is one of the monster types that is in one of the books. So, and finally, they would say, do you have 3K shins?
Not even close, I don't think.
You might want to make sure that you can have that covered and verify that before you go down to the north end. And I will warn you, it will not be wise to go there too late at night.
We appreciate your advice, and we will make sure to heed it.
Excellent. And then they sort of click their fingers, and there's apparently like a button or something on it. Like they have a new cipher or Numenera that opens the doors behind you. And they say, is there anything else that I can do for you? As they say it to Railu, pointedly ignoring Tiyune.
Currently, unfortunately, I'm low on physical funds, though I'm sure we could exchange many a story. But perhaps if my fortune changes while I'm here, I will be back to see your wares.
Oh, well, if your fortunes do change, please do. And they point to an area behind the counter, and it has like 4 large volumes. And they're like, these are some of the finest stories that I have been able to trade for in the past 5 years, and I would be happy to discuss the price if you are interested.
I'm sure we will share many a cup of tea soon.
Excellent. They'll go back behind the counter, and they'll just sort of pat Hillian on the hip. They'll be like, thank you for that mushroom. It was delicious.
Cheers!
And after they pat you on the hip, they pause, and they look around their store, and they go over to an area where the oddities are, and they pull out this item, and they're like, I think you should buy this.
Oh, what is it?
And they open it up, and it is not. It's almost like a slap bracelet. But it's sort of like a slap bracelet with little glowing symbols on it. Obviously, words, letters, something from a previous civilization. And they're like, I think this is something that would be good for you.
Okay. What do you want for it?
Well, what do you have?
Hillian kind of looks distant for a minute.
Well, I have snacks.
No.
I have a couple of shins.
Yeah, no, I don't have that much otherwise.
Okay. How many shins are you offering?
I have 4 shins.
Total.
Yeah. And snacks.
Then I think a fair trade for this item is 2 shins and the rest of those mushrooms.
Hillian's eyes go wide.
The rest of them?
The rest of them.
Okay, I guess.
And Hillian will reluctantly take out the pouch that has the mushrooms in them and hands over 2 shins.
And they take them and they slap the thing on your wrist and they say, "Thank you." And then they walk away. So,
Okay.
Just
slap bracelet on your items list, and we will see what this does for you. And this will be part of your major effect.
Okay.
does Tiyune just let this person slap a Numenera device on? Yeah. All right. Cool. I don't know any better.
Awesome. So, yeah, you need to follow up on this at the north end at nighttime, and you have what else do you want to do?
As they're leaving, Tuna will just call out, "Thank you for your time and thank you for respecting ours," and lead Hillian out.
Great. And what are you doing? That's their whatever.
Tiana's plan is to, as long as like Railu and Hillian are both fine with it, Tiana's plan is to go back to Gesten's house because they apparently need 3,000 shins and Tuna's not paying that or looking for the money. So hopefully the Eon Priesthood has a plan.
Oh.
Go ahead.
In some lucidness, Hillian's like,
3,000 shins is a lot. Where would we find such amounts of money?
Hopefully the priesthood has some sort of contingency for this.
Gesten better have deep pockets.
Oh, I was so hoping Railu would just be egotistical and be like, "Whatcha, whip! I got this. I will perform for this stuff. We got it."
Oh, I
That
still
would be
plan
funny.
on going seeing Milenek, who was, you told me, the person to talk to about performing. Yeah, I took notes on that, just not Gesten, the one we talk to every 5 minutes.
Awesome. Cool. So I would like Kenny to do 2 int rolls to see if you can make it out of the market without getting distracted and running off.
okay.
All right, that one's fine.
It's an 11 for the audience.
Yes. Ooh, a 3 is not going to cut it. What do you see in this market that is such a draw that you literally drag Tiyune over to it?
I don't think it's a sight. I think it's a smell.
Oh.
There's something savory and sweet and something that Hillian has never smelled before, but it smells intoxicating and yummy.
Okay. So,
And so Hillian just catches the scent on the air and, like a bloodhound, starts like navigating, stopping every once in a while to like smell the air and then keep on going.
how's
Oh,
Tiyune
we have to find this. Oh, what is that? We have to find this.
And off Hillian goes.
And Tiyune is just like, "This is cool, I'm going."
No, Tiana's definitely trying to like drag him back by the scarf and lead him toward, and is definitely like pulling every kind of snack she has out of her bag and like, what about this one, right? Let's just go back to Gesten's house.
But Tiyuna, this is new.
Cool. Okay, so you get to this stall that has, as Aaron has suggested, a orange root stew with spices reminiscent of the incense that you smelled earlier and something hot. Like, even smelling it, you start to sweat a little. Like, it's intense, whatever it is. They are offering bread bowls filled with this orange root stew.
I think Hillian is literally salivating, like just kind of saliva dripping from their mouth.
I need to have some.
It is 3 shins for the root stew bowl.
I have 2 shins. Tiyuna, I only have 2 shins.
Riley's like, please get him the stew. This is disgusting.
Tiyuna will pass over another shin.
Oh, thank you so much.
And Hillian will like frantically dig out the other 2 shins, which are probably stuck between like some other gummy fruit and other things, and like pull them out, and maybe the little hair tuft is like stuck on it, and be like, here.
And the person hands over the stew, takes the shins. Well done. You have stew.
While Hillian is distracted eating the stew, which hopefully means like hands like up close to his face, Tiyuna wants to take the opportunity to try to figure out what the slap bracelet is.
Okay, yeah, do a Numenera roll.
Oh.
Hey, is that a nat 1? That looks
Sure
like a nat 1.
Oof.
Yikes.
Tiyuna, you think that this slap bracelet is something dangerous. Whatever that shop owner wanted, this is something that they've done, and you think it's because they want to get back at you. They could tell the 2 of you were tied together, and this is some way to get back at you for being rude.
You can spend an experience point to reroll that.
You could.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. 'Cause I feel like based on this person, like based on the fact that Gesten like called this person their friend, it seems like Tiyuna probably wouldn't necessarily think they would be that terrible.
I don't know. People get really offended by Tiyuna.
That's true. But offended enough to hurt Hillian, who everyone loves, that's harder to believe.
Fair. Okay. 12. That's much, much better.
You like read the runes and it's like death bracelet, and then you're like, oh wait, I miscalculated this one.
It's a breath bracelet. Oh, so close.
It's like if it had been something like it's intended to hurt like someone who touches this person, then she would have believed it. But if it's just like it's dangerous, it's gonna hurt Hillian, she's like, that doesn't seem right. Nobody wants to hurt Hillian. Have you met this little fluff of sunshine? I don't think so.
This little fluff of sunshine is like a Muppet in this bowl of soup, like one of the Muppet monsters going.
With a 12, you know that this bracelet is something that records where you are. So it gives you a way to pull up images of where you have been for the last 12-ish hours, from what you can tell. And, you know, that's just something that you're like, you sort of recognize the symbols, and going back and you pull out your book and you start going through your Numenera book and looking at things, and you're like, okay, this is what I think this is. This is some sort of recording device. And don't know why it might be useful, but, or why the store owner thought it might be useful, but definitely there are ways that this could be handy.
Especially if I could find a way to make it transmit and then Tiyuna could pick up on the signal somehow. Yeah, Tiyuna's going to be thinking about this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's because of their major effect. That's the word. It's like boon, benefit. So because of that, this bracelet, that's why they chose to give this bracelet to him. Way to avoid the GM intrusion, which would have been hilarious to me. You get the soup. The soup will keep Hillian occupied as you are physically dragging them out of the space. You get back to Gesten's unless Railu's doing anything.
I mean, if this is going to take the whole day, maybe, but I'm assuming it's not, so I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I mean, you have plenty of time to just do whatever. But if you just want to go back and talk to Gesten, you can do so and see about the 3K shins, which is not a great... That's a big amount of money.
Sounds like Gesten's problem, doesn't it?
All right. Gesten is in their apartment and their little home and working away on something. They seem really intent about it, but they do seem much more calm, very relaxed. Like, okay, this is a thing I have to do, but I think I have things under control. Like, they're just sort of, they are not as anxious as they were. They're not, none of those physical tics that send anxiety out are present anymore. But they do not really notice you all coming.
Gesten, hello, we've returned.
Oh, yes. Do you have the map?
Not quite, but we do have a way to get the map.
Well, then go get it.
That's what we need you for. See, as per Aeon priesthood form A7634, I would love to formally request funds. That's the one form that Railu knows.
Roll for that.
I feel like that's a real form. Who would know how to request funds if not Railu?
That's fair. So get advantage on it, but let's roll for it.
Yeah, what if it's the wrong one? Okay, cool. I'm gonna put in some. Am I deceit? What am I doing? I was just fucking around.
It's an int roll for memory on whether you actually know this thing. Do you have to help you with that?
No, I mean I'll put in some effort into it. All social skills is not really necessarily the same thing.
Nope. Roll for it. Let's see what you got.
Cool. A 16.
That is an actual form, and you are absolutely correct. I think that this is actually a form that you have like 5 copies of in your bag because you are always ready to requisition money from the priesthood.
Yep.
It's like one thing that even Tiyune is like, can't complain.
I love this about Railu.
So, okay. How much? What are we talking?
According to Millionaire, 3,000 shillings.
They blink at you several times and then check the. How much?
That's what Millionaire said. Millionaire said that they are charging 3,000 shillings for this map. Surely that's nothing to the priesthood, right?
Maybe the priesthood, but it is for me. Just give me the form. Let me see what I can do.
Perfect. I pull it out and it's like already partially filled out with what they need.
Oh yeah, you are. It basically all it needs is the amount, your signature, and to be signed off by whoever you turn it on into.
Perfect.
Like you are ready.
I got these to go.
So they take it. Surprised you gave them the correct amount. Well played. I was like, oh, okay.
I have the forms for other acquisitions ready too.
They go to that screen, they share it with Central, and then they're like, well, now we wait. And they're like, I have to finish this, but then I can join you. So if you would like to have some tea, maybe get prepared for your evening, looking at each of you significantly.
Yes. So it's been a while since we've been at such a big base for the priesthood. Are there resources available for ciphers or Numenera of sorts here?
They're available for requisition. What are you looking for?
Well, we've been told that in order to go in and get this map, we're going to have to go into the Murden at midnight down in the roots in that dangerous area. And I just think it would be best if we had some sort of...
Yeah, their eyes bug out when you say that. The where? Oh, no. Oh, I see why I see why I am not the one for this job. Okay.
We are going to bring the shins there, of course. That would be ludicrous. But we do have to go talk to the map seller in order to get him to come to a place that is safe to transport those shins.
Very well. I'm glad that we have a little time now then, because I would like you to write up your reports just in case you don't come back. And if you will fill out the forms for the ciphers you would like, I am happy to see what we can do.
Perfect. Riley's going to do some paperwork, I guess, because I want some ciphers.
Cool. So you do that, and who wants ciphers, and how many are we talking? Because we will just roll on the cipher table for...
I can only hold one more. I mean, I would like more, but I have a giant bomb in my backpack, so that's great.
That's a thing.
Hillian can hold 2 more.
Okay. So why don't y'all roll on the cipher table? Tell me what's your number?
Is it a D100?
Yes, it's a D100. 26. 47. And that's for Railu. The 26 was for Hillian. And a 57 for Hillian. And Tuna is full up, right?
Yep, no room for more ciphers.
All right. I cannot remember how to...
If it's really good, you can exchange.
You could ask to change if you wanted to, but it's just going to be random. If you're fine with what you have, you're fine with what you have.
We're going to be like, hey, we're going to this dangerous place. Can we have a cipher? And they're going to be like, hey, here's this thing that generates a lot of soup.
Yeah, so y'all get 3 ciphers. I will fill them up for you, and you can move on. As you sit, are you doing anything to prepare for tonight other than the ciphers, or are you good?
I want to do something before the night ends, but otherwise Railu's prepared because fighting is what I do.
Okay. Gesten gets a response, and you know how the papers came through and he just caught them? This time, a device comes through. So it's a piece of Numenera that is circular with metal prongs coming out, all of the sides sort of curving up into the center, that looks like it's just a disc, but the little prongs, to give you an idea, look like when a spider is dead and it's on its back and the legs curl in. That's what the prongs look like all the way around it. And Gesten offers this to Railu and says, well, this is your 3,000 shins. When you are ready, you just press this button here, and it is just a button in the center where all the legs are sort of curled into, but they don't quite touch it. It's a little red button there that you press, and Gesten says, once you press that button, this device will disappear, and in its place will be a bag with 3,000 shins.
So, as dangerous as it sounds like the murder at midnight is, it sounds like we should not be bringing this there. Should we, as a superior, should we send this individual here? Should we send them?
No, this device will only work, and they've put it in your hands already, if you touch the button while alive. It will disappear. I recommend that you make sure you have the map before you're willing to press the button. It is as close to a failsafe as I can give you.
That is more than I thought would come from the priesthood. That is not you, because you have been so gracious. Headquarters is what I mean. Any other advice for dealing with people down at the Morden at midnight?
Don't show fear, and don't pick a fight you can't win.
I never do. And then, like, Riley looks at the other two.
Tuna has just scoffed so hard it sounded like she was choking.
If there aren't Juraskar, I think I'll be fine.
Gesten looks at you and then looks at the Tuna and Railu and says, you realize that you will be cutting this close, right?
Yes.
Are you taking precautions? And the chains, like the chains for a Howl at the Moon individual are on the couch in where you all had breakfast. And he looks significantly at that, and then he looks at you and says, "Are you? Is this happening?"
I mean, since they're out, Tiyune will grab them,
Okay.
shove them in her bag.
Okay. Best of luck to you all.
Gesten, do you have an... Oh, sorry.
No. Yes. What?
Do you have an idea what this bracelet is? And I point to the slap bracelet.
They look at the slap bracelet and examine it, and
Your friend gave it to us.
they rolled an 11, so they know exactly as much as Tiyune, maybe just a little less. Like, they don't know how many hours it will record, but they just tell you everything Tiyune says with that one exception. So it's like, I'm not sure how long it records for, but it will record what they have been doing, so I can see some usefulness to that. And then the time passes. Is there anything else you want to do?
Out of character, if we want to get on with it, then we can, or Railu wants to go talk to someone, but we can do that after. We can do that a different day.
Yeah, Railu can do whatever, and we can just have a interlude on what y'all did throughout the day, what you did throughout the day afterwards. But y'all meet up back at dusk to head down.
Yeah.
The only thing for sure that Tiyune does is share her thoughts on the meeting, which is that once we find Twam, we should convince them to, let them know, of course, that we wouldn't have brought 3,000 shins to the roots, and then convince them just to go somewhere else, and they can even pick the location, as long as it's not the roots, so that we can make the trade. But make sure that they know we're not trying to ambush them to steal it. We just didn't bring 3,000 shins with us.
Well, I think that's wise, and I'm certain that this Twam person will understand, because there is no way they are carrying that map around with them. It must be in a safe location. Because if they were carrying it with them in the North End, they would simply be killed and someone would take it. Because these people who want to be tyrants down there would have no scruples about simply murdering the person and taking the map. The only way to remain safe would be to not have it, and also to be able to protect themselves. So you are probably, I think you should be as prepared as possible.
Do you have a way for us to confirm the identity of the map? It's possible that this is all a scam, and I would hate for us to come back with nothing. Is there some identifying mark or anything?
I have no idea. All I know is this map supposedly exists.
I feel like we would, if anyone could verify it, it would be us. If it really does lead to the place where we were, we'd probably be able to identify some aspect of it.
Good, I was just making sure we weren't missing any protocols.
I think it's very easy. If the map exists, it is for this place you described. Where you entered should be very clearly marked. And it's a fairly easy rubric to test.
All right, well, hopefully we will be back by early morning at the latest, and if not...
All right. So I will let you all rest so you get all of your intellect and whatever points you have spent back. We will pick up, do we want to just pick up next week, next time we meet with all of you just at the Murden at midnight at dusk?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Hillian can describe how they're starting to feel as the sun sets on this beautiful day in Ephremon.
Absolutely.
As always, I am Kelric, your narrator, and this has been our Qmenera game. I hope you're enjoying it. You can find me here. You can find me on our Starfinder show playing a very high cat person, space psychic, ridiculous character who is hilarious on our Starfinder show. And you can find me on Twitter at EQ Points or at Cormallon. That's CORMALLON.
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR, WRITEJESSR, or you can find all of the various podcasts and streams and everything that I do on my website, writejess.com, including the 2 things that have come out since our last recording, Beyond the Basics and Villains and Lairs 4, which are both available on the DM's Guild, and again, also on my website, where you can also find all the other things I published.
Amazing.
My name's Aaron. You can find me at Space Persona on Twitter and follow us at EQ Points because I don't have any other plugs.
And you can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. And yeah, follow at EQ Points for everything else that I'm involved in.
Thank you so much. And as always, we hope to see you here, hang out with you next time. I'm Kelric. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for listening to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. Are your ears burning for another podcast? We cannot recommend enough checking out our sister podcast, Roll to Fail. There are 6 friends who have no business behind the mic, or even rolling dice. Stay up to date on all Experience Points Network podcasts at EQ Points on Twitter and on experiencepoints.com. Pardon our dust as I continue updates on the website. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello and welcome to St. Fleur, where the city is modern, the fantasy is urban, and the faction politics are at an all-time high. Join us in Shadows of St. Fleur as we follow the wizard, Alistair Lockwood.
Regret to inform you, I'm not a wizard. I am a master of the arcane arts.
The scholar, Jeremiah Roderick Crawford.
I'm an earl, you know, and you're a baron. Those words carry some weight.
The wolf, Victor Margaret.
Victor stands on the bridge in the cold. Fuck.
The fae who is known only as Silk.
Do we know if this was a standard mugging?
And the vamp, Alex Giroux.
Quite, because the first time the door opens, I'm going to push her out.
Through their experience in the city. Shadows of St. Fleur is an Urban Shadows actual play podcast with a majority LGBTQ+ cast playing characters finding their way through faction politics, all in pursuit of their own individual goals. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts.